ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
It is Monday, September 9th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is going to be 304-396-TALK. That's 304-396-8255. We've got a lot to get into today. Of course, the Thundering Herd on the road this weekend, falling to Virginia Tech. We've got comments from Coach Huff. He was on the conference call for the league earlier today. We've got some of his initial thoughts on what happened on Saturday. And, of course, we've got your text coming in. We'll do that here in a few minutes. And, again, that's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And a little bit later on the program, and we're going to get into it, and hopefully a lot more, later on the show, we're going to welcome back someone who hasn't been with us in a while on the program. He's a big, big supporter of Marshall athletics, and he's well known in the Marshall athletics online community. So he's going to join us on the program. It's fitting that this individual gets to come back on the show because, unfortunately, over the weekend, if you weren't with us, and I hope that you've heard by now, if you haven't, unfortunately, our good friend Woody Woodrum passing away. You know, we find out on Saturday. We're about 30 minutes from airtime, and that's when I find out on Saturday. So it was a very difficult day on Saturday for a lot of us. And, of course, our thoughts and our prayers continue to go out with the friends and family of Woody Woodrum. I got a chance to talk to his son during the Marshall game while it was going on this weekend. So there's a lot that we'll still know more soon as far as arrangements and everything, because I know that's something that everyone's going to want to know about. Just, hey, where can I send flowers or where can I pay my respects? And I get a lot of texts about that. So as soon as we know something, we'll share that with you. Woody was a big part of this radio station for a long time. And, of course, he was a big part of Marshall athletics. He has a long and I think illustrious career as the equipment manager. He also had a pretty grand career in radio. He was always a positive voice on the radio. And, of course, years ago when I joined the company from another place, it was fun for management to put together two different people because, of course, you didn't want two people to have the same opinion. That's right, Woody. That's right, Paul. You didn't want that. That would have been completely boring radio. So, of course, we had fun going after each other. Some of you actually thought we didn't like each other. There were people like, yeah, you guys hate each other. And, of course, you get on the wrong side of Woody Woodrum, a lot of people are going to hate you. And because that's Woody, everybody loves Woody. So, you're on the opposing side of Woody Woodrum, people are going to hate you. There are people still to this day that probably hate me because I had some really spirited debates with Woody Woodrum. And Woody and I were great friends. I mean, he became family to me. So we had fun on the air. He started winding down his radio career a few years ago, but he never fully left. He was with us all the time doing our Marshall pregame and postgame shows for a while, and then it was just pregame. He was always part of the Huntington High broadcast as long as we had him here. So he had just came back from Martinsburg that very morning. So finished up the game, made the trip back home, and then, of course, sadly leaving us, and we will miss Woody. And so if you've got Woody stories, of course, we're not going to put a timetable on that. If you always got a Woody story, we're going to hear them, and we'll take that. Our text line today is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And for everybody who's kind of checked in on me, because I did take it really hard, and it wasn't that, it was sad. It's still sad that he passed away, but at the same time, it was like really sudden, and it hit me like a freight train. It just went through me, and then I had to pick myself right back up and go. And so it was very hard for me on Saturday, and it's a little hard to do this show now, to be honest with you. It's not that we can't do it. It's just that it was very hard, very sad. That Woody, because Woody was a big part of this. I mean, I was across the street for many years. I was, I don't want to call it a rival show, but I did a different show. I was not directly connected with Marshall University. I was on a different track, and we did different things, and you brought us both together. And we turned out to have one of the best friendships I could possibly ask for. I mean, we liked a lot of the same things. We had a good time no matter where we were together, when we were together. We hung out at times. I wish we could have hung out more. I know his health declined. His body didn't allow him to do some of the things he used to do. And so it was my pleasure to have him as a friend for the time that I did get to have him as a friend. And, we really enjoyed each other. Absolutely. And got to know his brothers a little bit better. His family's wonderful. I got to know his son a lot better, his children, his family. They're all wonderful people. And we give them our love and support. And hopefully, we can be there for a long time to come for him. And I know you guys will be there for the family as well. And again, I appreciate a lot of people checking up on me personally to say that that was a little surprised. I was a little surprised. I mean, a lot of people checking up on just how are you doing? Because, right now our thoughts are with Woody's family. That's where all the energy should be. How are they doing? How are they feeling? What can we do for them? And so, I had a lot of you, and I appreciate that outpouring from people personally and, just people who listen to the show, just who know me that way, checking in on me, seeing how I was doing, and I appreciate that. So, we're going to remember Woody a little bit later on. Again, the only way I thought that would be fitting for at least the first show back from the weekend to have this particular individual on, because Woody, he meant a lot to a lot of people, and Woody was a guy that could talk and talk and talk and talk some more and still talk. Sometimes you just have to turn the microphone down. Okay, Woody. All right, we have commercials to take, Woody. We got to take that commercial break. And so the person I'm going to have on the show would also talk and talk and talk and talk, and they would talk and go back and forth. And, it was just, you just sit back and listen. It was story time. And so I'm going to keep that name under wraps just for a little bit. Let it be a surprise to you, but we'll talk more about Woody later on the show. All right, we got to get into this football game, and we got to hear from Coach Huff. We'll do that when we continue. And we'll try to make sense of what happened with the Thundering Herd as Marshall lost to Virginia Tech 31-14. There were some bright spots, I thought. There was also some spots where the Herd really needs a lot of work. So we'll hear from Coach Huff in a little bit. And, of course, Sunday was not a good day for me or would have been for Woody as the Cleveland Browns got beat. I love you, Woody, but too bad there. And, of course, the Cincinnati Bengals, they fall. They were opening up in the all-orange uniforms, and the Bengals let me down. And that's where we begin with our first week of Bengals Rewind. The Cincinnati Bengals fell short in their season opener against the New England Patriots, losing 16-10 at Paycor Stadium. New England took the lead in the second quarter when Ramondre Stevenson broke through for a 3-yard touchdown run, putting the Patriots up 7-0.
3rd and goal to go just outside the 3. A heavy set. 3 tight ends are in. Osborne motions left to right. Brissett under center. Stevenson in the back. He takes the handoff. He runs it to the right side. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots!
Cincinnati answered back in the third quarter with a 5-yard touchdown run from Zach Moss, cutting the deficit to 13-7.
1st and goal from the 5. Burrow in the pistol again. Turns left. Gives it to Moss. Right up the middle. Touchdown!
Yeah, baby.
Bengals! Zach Moss up the gut and into the end zone for his first Bengals touchdown.
However, the Patriots controlled the clock and secured the win with Joey Sly's 3rd field goal, making it 16-10. Here's the final call as New England sealed the victory.
A well-managed game by Mayo and his staff as Brissett takes the knee for the final time in the first game under head coach Gerard Mayo. And it's a 16-10 victory in Cincinnati over the Bengals.
Post-game, Bengals head coach Zach Taylor acknowledged the mistake, saying this team will regroup and handle things internally.
You just got to take a deep breath. This isn't what we wanted. We have to be accountable for why it happened. We're 0-1. We got 16 left to play. Tremendous opportunity to go on the road next week and flip all this momentum. And so, again, that's how we got to look at it. We got to handle ourselves internally, not worry about the external noise. We know we'll be there. And I know our guys will do a good job of it.
Quarterback Joe Burrow, returning from injury, said he felt comfortable, though the offense struggled to connect on deep plays with Jamar Chase.
Yeah, they were taking it away. They did a good job. They had a good plan. So I was just taking underneath, taking what they gave me.
The Bengals will look to bounce back next week as they head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. We'll have that game for you here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm Paul Swann, and this has been your Bengals Rewind.
Are you tired of the blazing sun beating down on you while you drive? Well, say goodbye to heat and glare with ProTint, your Lumar Formula One tint installer. ProTint's premier window tinting not only keeps you cool and comfortable, but also protects your vehicle's interior from fading and cracking. ProTint guarantees a flawless installation every time. Choose ProTint for a sleek, stylish look, unbeatable UV protection, and customer service. Visit WV ProTint on Facebook today.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now, let's hear what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policies. Oh, what is that? That's just my tail. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects. There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still my tail.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great, too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. It's that time of year again, football season. Frank's has you covered from Marshall, WVU, the rest of college football to the NFL. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials they have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check them out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road. Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Are you ready to get in the game? Gomart and WVU are teaming up to give away the ultimate Mountaineer experience. Walk the man trip with the WVU football team. Plus, receive exclusive game day tickets and Gomart and WVU branded apparel. To be entered to win, head to Gomart and scan the QR code in-store. But hurry, winners will be announced on August 28th. Go to gomart.com for details. Gomart is the official convenience store of WVU Athletics.
The Marshall University football team is in the midst of a long road swing, trips to Virginia Tech and Ohio State with an open date sandwich between. But before you know it, the Herd's going to be back at Edwards Stadium for back-to-back home games, September 28th against Western Michigan, October 5th against Appalachian State. That game with Western comes on Hall of Fame weekend and includes a reunion for the 2014 Conference USA champs. Speaking of reunions, the App State game is homecoming, so don't wait. Get your tickets now at herdzone.com.
Fall is the best time to plant trees. MonPower and Potomac Edison are here with tips to help you plant smart. Let shade trees lower your electric bills. Carefully positioned trees can reduce a home's energy consumption for heating and cooling by up to 25%. For more tree planting tips, visit firstenergycorp.com. This message sponsored by First Energy, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and the station.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Winner of the 2024 West Virginia Broadcasters Association Excellence in Broadcasting Award for Best Talk Show.
Welcome back to our Monday edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. You know that WVBA award that we talk about now and then on the program. We're pretty proud of that stuff. 2013, we won that, myself and Woody Woodrum. We won that for the, I believe at that point we were the Insider Sports Line. I think we were either Super Talk Sports Line or Insider Sports, the show changed a lot of names, back in that day. So we picked up a award together. Of course, Woody won with Jason Toy Play-by-Play award in 2000, and I believe it was I think it was 2017. I need to double check the trophy. I think it was 2017. I'll double check that. But we've had some good times together. Woody won Sportscaster of the Year in the state of West Virginia in 2000. He never got to go. It was a point where his life where he just physically wasn't able to go, and he couldn't go accept that award. And I always regretted that for him, because I would loved it for him to experience that at least one time. And I was hoping that, if I ever get back there, I got to get him to go just with me. If I ever had that opportunity again, and that could be never. But if I ever had that opportunity again to go and be a part of that, I would love to have taken him with me and get him down there for just to have that experience. He definitely was somebody who was well known and loved. I think even I was talking to somebody about him, and they mentioned to me that Stan Cotton, during his radio broadcast, even mentioned it, because Woody worked with Stan. Woody worked with a lot of people that have moved on in other spots of radio as well. So Woody's definitely going to be missed. Let's get to our text, 304-3 easy for me to say. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texture said, Paul, as much as I and every other Herd fan hated to lose over the weekend to Virginia Tech, hearing about the passing of Woody really just makes you take a step back and realize it's just a game and there are way more important things to life. Go Herd. I agree. It's the toy department of life. Honestly, it is the toy department. I think if coaches would realize that a little bit and fans would realize that a little bit, we'd have more fun. And I'm not saying, let's just have a carefree attitude. No, you got to go out there and play, and you want to give it your very best. And there's a lot of money involved. So, yes, let's do our very best. But at the same time, it's not a life-ending occurrence that Marshall lost to Virginia Tech. It's disappointing, and I think Marshall did have a fair shot, at least being a little closer. And there were some opportunities for the Thundering Herd, but this is the toy department of life, and the guy who loved toys the most, we definitely are going to miss him. Back to our text line. Texter says, wow, Paul, what a loss. Back in the day, you were on first, and then Woody. It was a great 2 hours of sports talk. No wonder you two ended up together. Prayers for his family. Hey, Woody was a big part of that. There were a lot of people that were a big part of that, because once I became available, I was asked to go play the home version of being on the radio. And once I got the home version, Woody was a big part of that. I don't want to lessen his impact on that. I mean, he had to agree to some of this stuff. Like, hey, yeah, okay, I can handle that guy. Yeah, bring him on. Let's go. Get him in here. No, Woody was a part of that as well. And, Woody was one of the first guys to reach out to me. You didn't know that, did you? First guys from Kendrick Communication to reach out to me was Woody Woodrum, because we knew each other. I mean, we weren't like besties or anything. We knew each other, and we became besties, but at the time, he was the first guy to initiate the contacts. Like, hey, would you be interested coming over here? Yeah, let's do it. And, of course, I had some friends over here as well, so it was even better. It made it for a soft landing once I got in the door over here. Back to our text, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, I'm really sorry to hear about Woody. He will be missed. I love talking to him about Marshall. We know he's in heaven. As for football, it's hard to run the air raid when the quarterback can't throw. We're going to hear a little bit about that here in a minute. We got Coach Huff's comments. I've got him in three segments. He was asked, this is a teleconference, so he doesn't get to hang out for like 20 or 30 minutes. So he's got a few minutes to get his thoughts in once he's asked a question. So they're kind of long cuts. We'll play them. I just want everyone to hear them in context. And, of course, I wasn't able to actually jump on and ask questions, but Luke Creasy from HD Media is usually the other member of at least the Huntington local media that's on the Monday call. Because again, it's we got the presser tomorrow. Better video because it's a Zoom call. We're on a Zoom call, and so Luke's asking some initial questions. And one of the things that Luke asked him about, first off, I'll tell you what. First off. Let's get Coach's opening statement. I think that's probably the best place to start. We'll do that, and then we'll listen to Luke's questions. At least Coach's response to them. And so, first up, it was a tough loss. And let me set this up. If you're familiar with Coach Huff by now, he's kind of got that humor, and he'll say something now and then. And of course, I think right before the interview for him started, Ricky Ronnie, I believe, was on the call. Of course, he's friends with him. He's friends with Old Dominion. So I'm just going to set that up initially. Old Dominion's presser was right before Marshall's. And so Marshall, of course, taking on Virginia Tech last week. Old Dominion's got to deal with Virginia Tech now. And so that'll set up where Coach Huff was going, and then he'll get into his thoughts about the game in this cut.
Yeah, we went to the sacrificial route for ODU in the conference. We softened up Virginia Tech, so Ricky should have a cakewalk. I mean, we beat them up pretty bad. They should be limping. They used all their plays that they had in their tank. So as a member of the Sun Belt and our initiative to work together, I was, willing to forego a victory on behalf of the ODU Monarchs. So I'm hoping that at some point in the year, Ricky will return the favor. With that, no, obviously a really hard-fought battle against a really good opponent. Really proud of the way our guys played, really proud of the way our guys continued to battle. Just didn't make enough plays. We've been successful in some Power 5 games, in our history here. And the one thing that we did in the past in all those games where we were able to make plays and put pressure on the other team, and we were never really able to do that Saturday. They were able to kind of still stay in their flow. We didn't really put pressure on them by getting them behind from a score perspective or taking the lead and extending the lead, which we've done in some other games, which puts a little bit of pressure on them, forces them to make plays. We weren't able to do that. Great opportunity to learn. I think with 40 new players, this is really giving us, and take that 40 new players and a new offensive coaching staff. It's really giving us an opportunity to learn who this team is, as we get into conference play, which is, ultimately, the most important. Obviously, we want to win them all, but using these opportunities to learn, who we are as a team is going to be important down the road. So not the result we wanted, not the result we were searching for or required, but definitely learning opportunity that I think will help us as we move down the road. So with that, open up with questions.
All right, that's Coach Huff's opening statement, and again, he's in a good mood, making fun a little bit of Ricky Ronnie, just a little bit. Those guys have that history together, so I don't put too much into that. There, he's taking it seriously, but at the same time, Marshall, Virginia Tech. It's going to be interesting to see how Virginia Tech plays out the rest of the season. And, of course, Marshall has got the off week now, getting ready for Ohio State. And we got the news today. The game's going to be a noon kickoff. That's noon kickoff. Why is it noon? Well, it's going to be on probably Fox. That's it. That's the reason. Noon kickoff. Is it going to be on Fox? Yes. Going to be on Fox, nationally televised game. So, if it's a noon kickoff on Fox, big noon kickoff is going to be opening up the day. So, big opportunity for Marshall to be featured heavily. I'm sure there'll be more talk about Ohio State. I am imagining here, but now you're on national TV. You're on probably one of the showcase time slots. And that noon kickoff time, that's been working well for Fox. So that's a big deal for the Thundering Herd. And you got a couple of weeks to get ready for Ohio State. And if you can bounce back from this Virginia Tech loss and put together a really good showing, not all's lost here. So that's a big deal. Let's hear a little bit more from Coach Huff before we hit the break. First up, he was asked about special teams because with special teams, it was It wasn't consistent. It absolutely was not consistent. Of course, special teams faltered. Special teams started to pick things back up. So you had a little give and take with special teams. And, of course, I'm talking about definitely toward the very end of the first quarter. There was that 43-yard punt return touchdown from Jalen Lane. So, that hurts right there. Hurd and Virginia Tech, I'm thinking, they're in this game. And then all of a sudden, that punt return really stings a little bit. So you're not really getting the consistency you want from special teams. Coach talked a little bit about that, highlighted some of that as well, the good and the bad, and probably the ugly as well.
Yeah, I think, again, whenever you face a really good returner or return team, you got to be on. We've made some decisions, I can say organizationally, to play some, we call them 1As and 1Bs, some guys who may not be starters, but guys who will transition into the starting role on our special teams early in the season to get them experience because as we know that the season is long, those guys may end up playing more on offense or defense. You take a guy like Amir Foster last year, or Ian Foster this year, he started to see some of his success on special teams. Well, when you flip it on the other side, in this particular game, Virginia Tech had starters on their special teams. So you're going to be in a situation again where, they're playing better players. They're already, a better, a team from a P5 perspective. And then you're putting them against guys that we're trying to develop to get them that experience. From that, we can do a better job of managing what we do. Do we kick it out of bounds? Do we roll punt it? Do we do some things to kind of counteract, not having, the starting wide receiver jamming up our, backup linebacker on punt. The other part of it is, we're trying to develop a punter as well. So we're trying to get him to understand, hey, when we play, especially since he's not from America, like, hey, man, they return this ball in America. They don't return it in Australia because your coach catches it and throws it back to you. Trying to get him to understand the location, trying to get him to understand, okay, hang time and the importance of your location and hang time with a good returner. And I know it sounds like, and I don't want it to come off as like this first couple games are experimental, but I think you got to teach guys at some point, and I would rather have that show up against Virginia Tech and be able to teach from than get in the conference and we still have the same issues. I think, Luke, you've been around here long enough. I mean, there's guys that show up on the field that may not be ready late in the season due to injury. I would be an idiot coach if I don't try to get those guys in games early. Well, the negative of that is you got, Ian Foster out there covering a punt against, the ACC's best punt returner. Now, well, it all goes together. Hopefully Alec Clark learns now that, hey, my location on the punt may be better than 5 more yards on the punt, making sure I get it outside the numbers. And then again, give credit to Lane. He did a really good job of running up in traffic and not fair catching it, which 90% of punt returners do a really good job. When they get in traffic, they shut it down. And if you watch that clip, we've got 3 guys right there who stop. Well, because he's running up and everything you say, hey, they start running up. You don't want to run into them. We say breakdown, they shut it down. So there is a little bit of a communication issue to what do you teach from? Okay, you still got to come to balance because he does not have to fair catch it. So I hate that we had to learn that, in Lane Stadium on national TV against an opponent where, the game was tight. But I think, again, when you show that film, all of them were like, oh, I see it now. So a lot of learning experience. I think we keep putting those guys out there because they'll be better down the road from it. I think it'll make us a better team. I think what we did see is we have the ability 2 weeks in a row now to create some plays on special teams, where last week it was a big kick return. This week it was a big punt block. So I think, again, what we're trying to teach, we're teaching. We still got to continue to develop and grow from in-game experience.
That's Coach Huff. We'll hear a little bit more from him later on. Let's get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So you're going up against a team, special teams. They've got their better players out there. Marshall's trying to develop its players. I mean, that was obvious. Virginia Tech's going to have, on paper, theoretically, better players. So Marshall trying to get itself to a point where it can clean up everything now. Don't run into some of these problems, or at least you can mitigate any problems as we get into conference season. When we continue, more of your texts. And we've got somebody coming up on the show. It's going to be a surprise for you. He called me up today and said, hey, I really would like to talk about Woody. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. You definitely got a shot at the microphone. So when we continue, the mystery guest is coming up here on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Save big money on new appliances now at Menards. You need reliable and energy-efficient appliances to conquer the day. Menards is your one-stop shop with the largest in-stock appliances selection ready to take home today. Check out our top appliance brands including KitchenAid, Maytag, Whirlpool, Amana, and Criterion. Save big money on Whirlpool appliances at Menards and check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
In a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% to help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, Jeff Smith, 304-781-1234. And in Wayne, Vicky Tabor, 304-272-5149.
Giovanni's Pizza. Fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in.
Time for
With
you,
Skyrizi,
Mr. Guest.
Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Progressive covers pets in our auto policy at no extra charge. Now, let's see what your dog has to say.
As a dog, I think Progressive's auto pet policies. Oh, what is that? That's just Mattel. Weird. Anyway, Progressive protects. There it is again. See? This is why I need protection. I'm so distracted. Nope, that is still Mattel.
Progressive Auto Insurance covers pets for up to $1,000 in a car accident at no extra charge. And we think your dog would say that's great, too. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to our Monday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've been remembering the life of Woody Woodrum, a colorful and rich life, loved martial athletics probably more than any human alive. And so he meant a lot to a lot of people, touched a lot of people's lives. And we could have gone the safe route and just have somebody on from Marshall University, maybe to briefly talk about him. And we could have done something like that. But no, Woody was a man of the people. And the person who probably represents the people the most when it comes to the Marshall fandom is one Eric Phillips, also known as the E-Man.
Hey, I hear you good, brother. How you doing?
I'm well. I knew I'd hear from you sooner than later, so I'm glad I heard from you today. And, of course, for those who might go back a ways, the E-Man. He is a longtime supporter of Marshall athletics, and he would get into long, epic conversations with Woody Woodrum on the radio, and that was part of the flavor of Woody because, as you know and I know, Woody could talk to anybody. He could talk and have a really meaningful conversation with a tree, and it would be a meaningful conversation, and the tree would get something out of it.
most definitely called oxygen.
Exactly. So I know Woody meant a lot to you because Woody was probably the epitome of the fan. I mean, he was professional. He loved Marshall at the same time. Never, ever have we met anyone that was more dedicated to the athletic department and to the university. And he was the guy that was probably the voice of the fan.
Let me just say this, to the Woodrum family, my deepest heartfelt condolences to them. His son Trey, whom he thought the world of. I watched Trey grow up, his brother, and the whole Woodrum family loved Marshall. I had talked to Woodrow Thursday. He was very upbeat. His spirits was high. He was on his way to call the Martinsburg and Huntington High game, that is. And when I got the news that he had passed Saturday, man, it hit me like a ton of bricks because me and Woodrow was really tight. I'll never forget the time that during the Snyder era when we were going downhill and some fans had posted that they were going to wear a brown paper bag. Well, that didn't sit too well with Woodrow. I'm telling you, when I had called in that Monday and I had mentioned that to him, I thought he was going to jump through the phone. He was small, but he was mighty. And he, like you said, he had that passion about herd sport. And a lot of our designs, which we use today, the black that came into the uniforms was thanks to Woody Woodrum as equipment manager. So a lot of people don't realize that, but I'm sharing that with the people. I think like I told him, we have too much black. I wish we go back to the green and white. I'll say this for another day, Swanee, which we could talk about that. But Woody's going to just be missed, man. He's just one of a kind. You know what I mean?
Nobody can replicate him. You're exactly right. There's not another person that will love Marshall more than Woody Woodrum. And I mean, his family and his brothers, they all come close, but Woody's the champion of all of that. He's the one that takes the top prize, and it's his fault for the black. I told him that one time. It's your fault. I mean, it was an accent color. He put it in the helmet. It was an accent color. Of course, he's responsible for the Block M as well. It's evolved since, but that's Woody Woodrum, the Block M there, and we could talk about his influence and his reach as far as so many people that are in the business, the athletic trainers, the people who are in the equipment room, all of that. We could talk about a lot of people who were directly or indirectly impacted, influenced, and guided by the man. And then, of course, he was on radio for so long as well, and there were a lot of people who know and love him. He's just one of a kind. You're not going to be able to replace him or replicate him, and it would be a disservice if you tried to, because he was, again, he was the voice of the fan. He was the representation of the Marshall fan. You love him or hate him, and I don't know who'd hate him, but he was the voice of the fan. Maybe sometimes he was too positive. I've heard that before. No, he loved Marshall. You could not deter him. You could not deter him from that love.
Yeah, and the thing that I love too is that he was a Marshall historian, athletic historian, encyclopedia. You can mention anything about a herd team, and he was so well-rounded, not just in football, but basketball, baseball, track. Woodrow, if you ask him about something, he knew the question to it, the athlete and the year and so on. And it was amazing, how well in depth he was about, the statistics and so on. And analytics. So, it's a great loss. He had the voice for radio, just like you, Swanee. He passed the torch on to you. It's a tough week for us, a weekend, and I'm even more upset at Coach Huff. I love Coach Huff, and I hope that he's listening to this. But Coach Huff, quit being so damn stubborn. Get a new quarterback in there. Stone Earl is not the answer. Don't be stubborn like with Cam Fancher last year. We got, if it's that close in the quarterback battle, that came down to Braxton and, of course, Cole Pennington, then what would it hurt Saturday to have put a new quarterback in there to try to get some type of spark? Because we had only had, and one of the guys on the post on Herd Fans, Banker, he's real good with statistic, and I didn't know this. We'd only had 37 yards passing in the first half. Our team's prior to that had done that, in one series. Are you kidding me? This guy, he had a lot of balls batted down. He wasn't accurate on his throws. He is not the answer. We are going to lose with this guy if he stays at quarterback. The best thing to do is to put Braxton in there and Cole Pennington. I was hoping that those two could have got a shot, because I think if we could have moved the ball against Virginia Tech, and I know we could have, it would have been a different game.
Now let me ask you this: I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you here, because again,
I'm waiting on it. Bring it, Swanee. I'm waiting on it because I'm fired up.
What would Woody Woodrum say to you right now? How would Woody discounter you right now?
He would have said, "You're right."
Now you know better. You know better. You absolutely know better. He would have pointed out, of course, that was a good defense, and there were a lot of underthrown balls, or maybe there were a lot of pass breakups. He would have come up with something. I'm not saying that he was blind to a lot of problems, but he would have had a silver lining in any cloud that you would have brought.
Well, my point is that he would have countered that. But I'm just speaking realistically what I've seen and what's going on and where we're going to go if we don't make a quarterback change. And I'm telling you, this young kid, and that's no knock to him, he just doesn't have it to be the starting quarterback. If anything, he should be third string. It should be between Braxton and Cole Pennington. In fact, Cole, he could put the ball in the money. I don't know. He's got a quicker release. He's much, much more accurate. He would have fit in that game really well despite Virginia Tech's defense. Well, yeah, they had a great defense. I'll give them that. But we also have a great our offense, there are playmakers on our offense, and I was really surprised that our offensive line, how well they played. And how about the defense? They played their hearts out for 2 quarters, and there was just a matter of time before you knew and I knew that if we weren't getting the ball and at least getting down in the Vol-Tech territory, the defense, it was just a matter of time before that broke.
I'll give you this. I'll give you this number because I'm short on time, and
okay.
this won't be the last time we have you back on. It was 36 minutes and 25 seconds that Virginia Tech controlled the clock.
Wow.
36 minutes and 25 seconds. That's a lot of ball control.
And that bounced back. Yeah, and that bounced back on our offense because we should have been more productive. We're better than 37 yards passing in the first half. You know it, and I know it, Swanee. You could get a high school quarterback that can perform better than Stone. And, and I'm not trying to put the kid down. I just think that, he just didn't fit into, for whatever reason, Saturday, he was just out of his league. And if we don't address that, it's going to be, trust me on this, it's going to be a very, very long season. I would go ahead and pull the plug and throw Cole in there right now. I think Cole's looking the sharpest. He's got his dad's genes. Maybe I'm biased about that, but I think so many people would agree with me. And, I love Coach Huff. I want Coach Huff to do well, and I hope he's listening to this. But you can't be stubborn. You got to make the change. You got to pull that plug. You just cannot be stubborn, especially at a time like that. Let me ask you, Swanee, real quickly. What would it have hurt to have put Braxton in for a series or two, or even Cole?
I'm going to answer that on the other side of the break because Coach Huff has got a comment, and I want to comment on that. I'm going to cut you loose, E, and I love you, and we're going to have you back soon. We're going to hear from Coach Huff when we continue. That is longtime friend of Woody Woodrum's, Eric Phillips, the E-Man, one of the voices of the fans. We're going to take a quick time out, come back. I've got a cut from Coach Huff I want to get to. We'll respond to that when we continue here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
There is a place to shop at. The Huntington's Peddlers Mall is now open in the historic Central City District in Huntington. Over 200 vendors specializing in vintage antiques, home decor, furniture, collectibles, new mattresses, and everything in between. Peddlers Mall, located 800 14th Street West in Huntington. It's the place to go. Open 7 days a week. Visit anytime. Check out the website, peddlersmall.com, for more information. It's the tri-state place to shop, Huntington's Peddlers Mall.
At Poca Valley Bank, a handshake can still mean the start of a great relationship. We've been greeting customers with a handshake since 1908. Why settle for less? If you're purchasing your first home or planning for your future, Poca Valley Bank is here to support you with personalized service and local expertise. They are your trusted advisors. Why settle for less when you can experience banking with a team that truly cares? Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Visit PocaValleyBank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Real quick, our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texture says, Paul, Marshall's team is fine. E-Man's negative. E-Man's E-Man. Good to hear from him. I got a cut from Coach Huff I want to hear before we go, and it addresses the complexion of the game. Of course, that missed field goal would have maybe changed the tone a little bit. And then it goes into a little bit about the quarterback and how some of those balls, Luke Creasy could have thrown them, and they still wouldn't have been able to have been caught. Let's hear from Coach Huff on what he thought about the complexion of the game.
That's the dynamic I'm talking about when I say we never put pressure on. We go into halftime, it's 10-10 if that happens, and that's a totally different scenario. In the games we've had success, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech last year, we were able to put pressure on them. And putting pressure on them doesn't mean completing every pass and scoring every drive. It was we drove the ball far enough down the field on the second drive of the game, and we got 3 points out of it. Versus them feeling like, hey, they stopped us. And those are kind of the moments that we never really got to Saturday afternoon. We dropped some passes that completely change, the dynamic, and good player. They didn't catch the ball, Obviously, we got to work on catching the ball. You whatever, Luke, you could have threw the pass. So, you could say the quarterback, because what it does is, again, it puts pressure on them. We're playing really, really good defense. Oh, they made a play. Well, now you get into a rhythm. Now you can go, you think about it again. The one time we did put pressure on them, we blocked the punt. 2 plays later, we got a touchdown. And I think, again, that those are the type of momentum and pressure moments that we weren't able to create enough early in the game. And then when we got late, they never felt pressure, so they were able to take that shot.
So Luke Creasy, he might be QB4 in this whole dynamic. Luke, of course, from HD Media, another question and statement involving him. So does it come down to quarterback play? Does it come down to pass defense from Virginia Tech? Does it come down to missed opportunities from the wide receivers? Or is it a combination of all things? We're going to hear more, I believe, from Coach Huff tomorrow. As the off week, I think we still have a scheduled presser. We'll hear from him tomorrow. Coach has got a week or so to get ready for Ohio State. Should be an interesting one here. Text line before we go. Texter says, Huff's comments imply all of Stone's throws were dropped like he had no fault. It's just an intellectually dishonest argument. I was done with Huff after last season. Saturday confirms why. We appreciate the text. Thank you. So we'll have more from Coach Huff tomorrow from his weekly remarks to the media, and we'll hear more from you as well. And it was good to have E on. Good to have some of the old gang calling back in, and we'll get more of those folks on, and we'll remember Woody for a long time to come. That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with you tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Everyone have a great night.
Retransmitting in Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.